Alright, a little more on CC abilities here. They're not all things like putting things to sleep and stunning them. I'm on my scoundrel healer now. I'm very low damage. This is Tendon Blast, and this will actually slow a target by 50% for 12 seconds, which is kind of cool since the cooldown is about the same. So you can constantly apply a slow to a melee enemy. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Shriek, my companion here, into a healing stance, and I'm going to do the damage. This is going to be very slow because I have little damaging abilities, but I'm going to try to keep this enemy from even reaching me by using Tendon Blast. So it hardly got to me because I kept slowing it. Every time Tendon Blast came with cooldown, I hit it. Now I'll put her back into tank stance. I'll show you the mez we have. I will shoot Sleep Dart, Tranquilizer. Now she's asleep. It doesn't put me in combat. That pig is asleep for a minute. Now I'll send my companion. Have her attack that. The grenade has a minor CC ability, and then it knocks down a normal or weak target. So there were actually a couple little CC abilities I just demonstrated there. I used the Tranquilizer, which is Sleep Dart on the Imperial Operative, which will not put you in combat, allows you to sleep an enemy and walk right by them. As long as you don't damage them, you don't go into combat. The grenade, thermal grenade, I think it's frag grenade on the Imperial Agent, does have a minor CC ability, and that if it's a normal or weak target, it will be knocked down for a moment. So it will actually interrupt an ability, and it does keep them from doing anything for a brief period of time. And then I have Tendon Blast, and the Imperial Agent has a similar attack. I think it's Sever Tendon, using a knife, and has a similar range. It's again, it will put a slow on the enemy, and it won't really let them get up to you. Now that one enemy I fought did have a leap, so it did get a couple little hits on me there. You saw I lost a tiny little bit of health every time it could use that leap, but it could not move fast. It just crawled along because I had a perpetual slow put on it. So that is another type of CC. And let's see, I'll have to think what I do next. I'll find another class with some CC abilities that are interesting to show. And there is something interesting with Treek. I don't use her on all of my characters. I do use her on my smuggler, my scoundrel healer. Her AoE ability is unique among the companions in that it does not break any of your CC abilities. So you do not have to turn off her AoE. Treek's AoE does not have to be turned off. It's probably the only advantage I like to Treek. She does maybe seem to have a little bit better damage reduction than other tanks. I don't think it may just be perception. As a healer, I don't think she's very good. If I put her in heal stance, and let me expand her abilities. Here is her AoE heal, and I want you to see what she does here. I'm going to activate this manually. Has a cast time. Now, all the other healers, their AoE heal ability is instant. This I found to be a huge drawback because I'm frequently trying to kite an enemy and moving away from it or running out of an AoE attack, and by the time Treek casts that AoE heal, I'm no longer there. I hear people say, oh, Treek is so overpowered, easy mode, blah. It's really crap. It's really blowhard nonsense. She is actually a weaker healer. The heals themselves may have an equivalent heal per second value, but that one thing alone, that annoying activation time of 2 seconds on her AoE heal, I find to make her a significantly weaker healer. Now, she herself may have some more survivability, as she is a heavy armor healer. Dorn on the Trooper is a heavy armor healer. But aside from that, I do not see the advantage to Treek as a healer at all. Not at all. I do not prefer her as a healer. I prefer her as a tank, simply because she does not break AOE with break CC with her AOE abilities, and really I don't use her on too many characters anymore. I've used them on characters leveling where you don't have a choice in what character you get to use. That will change apparently in the update 4.0, Knights of the Fallen Empire. Then any companion, they say, will be able to do any role. But I've played characters where you don't get a healer until you're like level 40 something, and it's pretty annoying. Sometimes you want a healer, sometimes you want a tank, sometimes you want a DPS companion, and much of the game you have to go through whatever the hell you're stuck with. So the only reason for me the tree could ever be popular was not at all that she's in any way overpowered, which I think is absolute nonsense and bullshit. It was just that she could tank and heal, and if you had a character whose companions were DPS companions, where you were a healer and you had a healer companion, like my mercenary, for instance. I always play healers. If I can play a healer, I choose to play a healer. So my mercenary was a healer. What did I have? I had Mako. She's a healer and she has a very weak DPS stance. So I used Treek as a tank. Not that she was so overwhelmingly better than everything else. She's a little more convenient, only because her AoE does not break crowd control abilities. And that's really it. I used her on my assassin because he does not get a healer until the end of Hoth. Extremely irritating. I wanted to play a tank assassin. I wanted to play a tank shadow as well, which I've done. But you do get a healer a bit earlier, well, quite a bit earlier on the shadow. But really, had I been given a choice, I would have just had another healer for my assassin. But I had to wait until the end of Hoth to get the healer companion for my assassin. And like I said, I think she's actually a weaker healer simply due to her cast times. But that's about it. And I just thought I'd bring that up since I'm using Treek now, and her abilities are kind of relevant to this, and she will not break CC. So now I'll go and I will do another class and show some CC abilities and what to do.